Welcome, folks. And along those lines, mountain living, you definitely want to check out Aaron Lewis' concert, Georgia Mountain Fairgrounds, March 2nd. I noticed that he's playing locally. Saw him first play at the Grand Ole Opry several years back, and he does a jam up show. If you get an opportunity to go to that concert, March 2nd, Georgia Mountain Fairgrounds, Aaron Lewis. Great entertainer. All right, as always, we normally start out with first a quick look at our local real estate market. Today, we're going to start in Union County, Georgia. There's 151 homes currently for sale in Union County. We've had 27 homes sell thus far this year compared to 51 last year, so we're down quite a bit. The average days on market this year has been 93. That's the time it's taking to get a home sold, is 93 days, a little over 3 months. That's not really bad compared to 66 days last year. So it's taken about a month longer to sell a home. That's not bad at all. The average sold price thus far this year is just under $504,000. That's right. In Union County, Georgia, through today, the average sold price is just under $504,000 compared to just under $354,000 last year. I've added median price because sometimes that average price can get skewed by one major sale. The median sold price thus far this year is just under $436,000 compared to $315,000 last year. Now let's drive on over to Towns County, Georgia, Hiawassee, and Young Harris. There are currently 84 homes for sale in that market. 16 homes have sold thus far compared to 17 last year. So very similar. The average days on market, again, that's the time in which it's taking to get those 16 homes sold. Thus far this year is 104 days compared to just 85 days last year. The average sold price in Towns County, Georgia, thus far this year is just under $500,000, just under $500,000, compared to just under $314,000 last year. The median sold price in Towns County is just under $439,000 compared to $315,000 last year. Now, crossing over the state line into Clay County, North Carolina, there are currently 80 homes for sale in Clay County, North Carolina. 15 homes have sold thus far this year, and 15 homes had sold at this point last year. The average days on market is 58 days compared to 135 days last year. It's getting a little quicker. The average sold price thus far this year is just over $370,000 compared to just over $468,000 last year. Again, I've added the median because sometimes a major sale can skew the appearance of our market. The median sold price in Clay County thus far this year is $289,500 compared to the median price a year ago of $330,000 last year. We're still suffering from significantly low inventory. Buyer demand is still good. I have 7 or 8 properties under contract. I think 4 homes, and the rest is either acreage or vacant lots. Received 3 offers on vacant lots in the last day. Land is selling, and honestly, we're in the winter. There's no better time to look at land. One, the leaves are down so you can see what your view will be when you build your home, and if you take a few trees down, 1. 2, you don't have to worry about getting bit by snakes. And 3, it's cooler. If you got to hike, it's a lot cooler. All right, today we're going to look at common concerns, issues, and tips when you list your home. I call it the good, the bad, the ugly in listing a home. This is particularly true if it's a second home. A lot of this is more applicable to if it's a second home where someone's not present, but some of it would apply to if it is an occupied home. Again, from a seller standpoint, common concerns, issues, and tips. Number one, lights, doors, and the AC. Unfortunately, agents sometimes leave lights on, doors unlocked, or open, and change your AC settings. We always ask agents to be considerate when they show our clients' homes, but not all are. And that's understandable. I've gone to homes where the buyer's agent has left the back door completely open. Sometimes there'll be a family of buyers, husband, wife, children, in-laws, outlaws with them, and someone looks out the back door the agent doesn't know. So I'm not really pointing the finger at the agents. Sometimes it's the client, and maybe they think they've closed the door sufficiently, and the next big win, that door's wide open. Fortunately, we live in a fairly safe community, so not as big an issue if maybe we are in a bigger city, but also they'll mess with your AC, and the next month you've got a very high heating bill or cooling bill. Next, late or no shows. Sometimes an agent will schedule an appointment to look at a home. This is particularly true for occupied homes. So you get your home in shape. They're supposed to be there at 2, and it's 3 o'clock and they're not there. When they give us a time as to when they're going to be looking at your home, it's always a best guess, in fairness to the other agent, the buyer's agent, in that perhaps the buyer has 10 homes they want to see, and you schedule them based on how long you think the buyer's going to take in each home, but you never really know. And in one of the homes before your home, maybe they took a particularly long time looking at it. So, again, the time they give you is not always 100% accurate. Now, the no-shows, it's kind of disappointing if the agent doesn't call and say, hey, they found what they want. If they do, we'll definitely call you and let you know in advance. But again, late or no shows do happen in scheduled appointments. Water off. Now here's a stinker one, literally and figuratively. Water off. Unfortunately, some buyers will use your toilets even if the water is off. To avoid this happening, we recommend that you write on a sheet of paper, water off, please do not use. Put the sheet of paper on top of the closed toilet lid, and then take cellophane tape and run it around the bowl and over, down and over, down and over. That way, they literally have to cut the cellophane to get into the toilet bowl. This is particularly important if it's a second home or you're going to be gone for an extended period of time and you've cut your water off, you've winterized the home. This is hugely important because oftentimes, again, the agent could be busy with the parents and one of the little kids, they have to go to the bathroom. And they use the bathroom. No one knows. They try and flush. Of course, it doesn't flush. The home's been winterized. And then time passes. There's no greater stench than opening that front door to a home where someone's not flushed a toilet for a few weeks. Because of this, I actually keep gallons of water prepared so I can quickly run out. I stack the gallons because you have to go out, you have to fill the bowl, and then flush, and then sometimes flush, and then sometimes add more water and flush, and then dry it out and clean it, and then flush, add more water and flush it out. So it's best if you just run cellophane around the bowl, prohibiting them from opening it. Next, loose lips sink ships and can cost you money. If you're at the home when the buyers come, if you're present, please do not discuss anything in front of the buyers. Don't say, my husband's been transferred, we desperately need to sell. You don't get, someone's passed away. Do not give them a reason to squeeze you during the negotiations or squeeze me in the negotiations. Just so again, loose lips sink ships and can cost you money. Today, we're reviewing common concerns, issues, and tips in listing your home and showing your home. This is a sheet that I normally give to each of my clients to prepare them for the process. I don't think we're going to get through all of them. There's close to 30 tips on here. We're going to get through as many of them as we can. And as always, if you have any questions or I could shoot you a copy of this, please give me a call at 828-557-9139. My name's Rick Andrews. You're listening to Mountain Real Estate. As always, we really appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome back, folks. Today we are looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly of having a home on the market. It's common concerns, issues, and tips. If you're a seller and you've listed your home, these are some tips regarding the showing process. Next, we've gotten to number 5. It's feedback. Every time a home is shown, you should seek out the feedback from the buyer's agent. Not the day of. Again, we're second home market. Normally that buyer is looking at many homes that day. I hear tell of buyers looking 30 or 40 homes, not in a day, but over a few days. So you don't want to bother the buyer's agent the day they're driving those folks around the mountains. The feedback will not be positive if you interrupt the process. So normally the following day we start calling, emailing, and texting the buyer's agent seeking theirs and the buyer's feedback. Not all feedback is that good. Let's say the agent has shown a home that is a pigsty, and yeah, unfortunately some of them are. That agent isn't going to want to upset anyone by saying, yeah, the place needs a clean, it's a pigsty. Now, some will, and I appreciate their blunt honesty. I would much prefer blunt honesty. But some will just say, well, my client's just starting to look, or something like that. So not all feedback is that valuable, but it should be obtained and collected and reviewed over a period of time, and that if 4 or 5 buyers agents and or their buyers give the same feedback, and useful feedback. Sometimes the feedback is it's too big, it's too small, bad location, nothing you can do about it. However, if the feedback is maybe the color, some of the paint, something in the yard, something of that nature, then maybe it's something you can address. You look for patterns in the feedback. If there's something you can address, then you address it. That's the value of getting feedback. Number 6, Zillow and other national websites. Unfortunately, Zillow and many national websites are routinely not that accurate. And by not that accurate, I mean they can get and they've improved. Let me say this in fairness. Many years ago, as far as bathrooms, you'd have a half bath. They'd leave the half bath off, or there'd be a full bath. It would be inaccurate. They're much improved over the last 20 years, but they're independent corporations, and we have little to no control over them. Actually, the homeowner would have more control reaching out to one of these national portals saying, I own this home, you've misrepresented or inaccurately accounted for X. But again, your agent is not going to have that much control over it as you, the homeowner, would. These national corporations are more concerned with the homeowners than they are with the agents. If you see something that is not accurate, please let your agent know, and they'll see what they can do. I mean, there is some things your agent can do. So you want to definitely, we're a second home market. As a second home market, that probably means that your buyer is going to first see your home on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Homes.com has vastly improved of late, their viewership. So you want to go on all these sites the first week or so after you've come on. Normally they tell you it takes 48 to 72 hours from the time it's listed through the MLS till it shows on these national sites. You want to go on there and you want to look at, we normally send links to the national sites to our clients so they can go over it and make sure that everything is accurate. I listed $1 million home one time, sent it out, and for whatever reason, I think it was Zillow, could have been Realtor.com, one of the national sites, the opening photo of the home was a half bathroom. That client was not happy, nor was I happy. And after a lot of patience and phone calls, we finally were able to get them to put the beautiful exterior picture of the home up. So you always want to check because things can happen. We listed on the MLS. The MLS, I believe, still sends it out to a company called List Hub, and then it is syndicated out. At least that's how it used to be. And during that process, sometimes things can go askew. Number 7, internet leads. You will receive email reports on your home's internet views. Please know that we are a second home market and many folks daydream about owning mountain homes, but not all are real buyers. We live in a second home market, a beautiful second home market, and I can always picture this individual sitting in their work cubicle, bored to tears, and just daydreaming. So they pull up one of these national sites and they start looking at the beautiful mountains. Well, just because they click on there and look at it does not mean they're an actual buyer. I want to say the national average is for every 100 leads, maybe one of them is a buyer, 1% or less. I've heard as high as 5. I kind of question that. On an average, normally about 1% or less of those looky-loos on the national portals are actual buyers that end up buying. So I would discount, I've had 2,000 views, but not an offer yet. Well, that could be because you've got a lot of looky-loos just daydreaming. All right, number 8, your furniture. And this is particularly true if it's a second home. As we're a second home market, many times the buyer will make an offer that includes your furniture. If there are certain pieces that you absolutely will not sell, if possible, remove them. Normally, when I'm walking through a home the first time, I can spot the pieces you'll probably want to keep because that was your grandma's, your grandpa's, some relative is giving you this piece, and there's a great deal of sentimental value. The last thing you want to do is have that piece in the home while buyers are looking, because sometimes, regrettably, that buyer falls in love with that piece as much as you love it. They just think it's a beautiful piece. It just makes the room. You don't want an offer being contingent on the furniture, including that. So if possible, start taking that furniture to wherever you live, so that what they see is what they get, so that there are no squabbles. You lose a sale over a couch. All right. Number 9, showing activity. Again, we're a second home market. A second home is a luxury item, not necessary shelter. Showing activity in our area is normally less than in an urban area. Now, it's vastly improved since the COVID years. We do get a lot more showings than we used to, but I can remember if you were over $500,000 in our market, if you got just a handful of showings in a year, you were doing very well. Nowadays, it's not as true, but it is not like the city. If you live in the city, you may hit 20 showings the first couple weeks. Not so in our market. Not so in our market. We're a small rural second home market. They're up here looking on the weekends or their holidays. So if your expectations are based upon your experience in the city as far as how many showings, you need to change those expectations as far as showing activity. Next, low offers. There's always a chance that you'll receive a very low offer. Just because the buyer starts low doesn't mean they'll not be the buyer for your property. Don't be insulted. Try and make a counter offer if you can. Everybody wants a deal. Everybody wants to save money, especially in this day and age where a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk's stupid priced. You want to, when you get that first offer, just don't get emotional that it's very low. Make a counter offer. Find out what their second offer is. If their second offer is, again, ridiculously low, then you have what I would call a bottom feeder, a buyer that's just looking for a steal. That's all they're going to accept is an absolute steal. However, if they make a major price increase, then, okay, we've got a potential real buyer here. And then you can begin to negotiate accordingly based on whatever that second offer is. But again, don't let that first ridiculously low offer persuade you not to counter offer. Test the market. Next, home inspections. Once your home is under contract, the buyer will most likely have a home inspection. As the home inspector works for the buyer, do not speak with him unless it is absolutely necessary, and then keep it to a minimum. Much like tip number 4, loose lips sink ships and can cost you money. You want to be leery of sharing information. Now, full disclosure, we disclose any defects. That's the law. But you don't want to go into the reason you're selling or your level of motivation to sell. Well, folks, today we've only gotten through, 11 of the near 30 tips, but our time together is coming to an end. As always, if you have any questions about mountain real estate or you'd like a copy of our common concerns, issues, and tips, give us a call at 828-557-9139, or you can email us at rick@callrickandrews.com. We always appreciate you listening. We look forward to being back with y'all next weekend. Thank y'all.